Hi, Team Flyer, and welcome back to the Always Believer podcast. I am your host, Ariadna, and we're back for the final episode of Go to Fly of Season 4. As we're launching this episode, it is December 21st, 2022, and the spirit of the season comes down today. And we celebrate this brand new season, whether it's winter or summer, depending on whenever you're listening to this, wherever you're listening to this. I'm happy to be celebrating with you and enjoying the magic that is life with you, because I feel like that's absolutely beautiful. It is definitely one of my favorite days of the year. Both the summer, the midsummer, I guess, I don't know, June 21st, 22nd, and December 21st, 22nd. It feels so fresh and so magical and so full of kindness and joy and blissfulness. That's not even a word, but I don't know, there's just something magical about it. And not because it's like a holiday thing, as in really close to quote unquote Christmas. I'm not really a big fan of the celebration so far, so it's not really particularly tied down to that. It's more so of like a brand new season that brings us so much hibernation and coziness, especially for those in the winter hemisphere, and those moments of reflection, but also of like brand new cheer, of energy, of curiosity. And once again, if I really have to reflect on it a little bit more, I want to say that I feel this way probably every time each season starts. I feel like I'm really big into the starts of seasons, because there's something special about it. Because spring, for me, it's like, oh, that's my birthday, and that's my birthday season in general, and I always adored it because that's where the flowers come out to play, and it gets a little bit warmer, and you're like, it feels just the right kind of it's the right kind of balance for me, spring. And then fall, because we gotta talk about fall, it's just absolutely gorgeous as well. So yeah, big fan of seasons. And if you're with us today and around these dates, and cheers to you. And even if you're listening to this on March 18th, for example, then cheers to you too. As a matter of fact, if you're listening to this on March 18th, you're really close to spring starting, so hey, look at that. Or fall, so hey. Anyways, let's dive into today's episode. Goodness. It's a little bit of a reflection episode. It's a little bit of random stories episode, because when is it not? You know, it is the last episode of the season. It is really close to the new year, aka 2023 is literally around the corner. And like I said in the previous episode from Motivational Monday a couple days ago, it's laughter we're after from Monsters at Work. Time is non-existent. I truly believe I felt it before the pandemic, and then after the pandemic / during, whatever you call it. It's just something that's very surreal. I feel like something that this year has taught me. It's taught me a lot, but one of the things is to be more present, and I really, really feel it. Like, deeply reflecting on where I am today and who I am today, I'm like, whoa. I was more in the moment this year than previous years and previous moments. I've had certain health situations, living situations, financial situations that any moment in time in the past would have shaken me to the ground, would have rattled me up. I would have thrown myself into hustle culture again. I would have thrown myself into toxic relationships again. And this year, I've just been really like taking a huge step back and walking away from things that no longer serve me, and also becoming more and more and more present with where I am. And by being present, it means I had more fun, because if you heard the last episodes, you know about I'm all about having fun. It's definitely, once again, probably what tattoo idea brewing in my mind right now. But it's also being more present is also a way of being grateful for where I am. I feel like I don't include my milestones. I feel like for me, myself, and I'm not saying anybody else, but as a reflection, is my milestones have to include huge things, and that's not the way to do life. It's like when you do a vision board, right? I know they're really in right now. I think they've been in for a while. I've done them since I was a kid, on and off. And when you do a vision board, most of the times you see goals, and I do this too as well. You'll see that, that big house, that yacht, that level of money, that really, really huge goals. And that's wonderful. That's freaking, the fact that you love yourself and believe in yourself so much, the fact that you're working towards those goals, like, congratulations. I think one of the things that I've learned throughout time with a vision board, but mainly about, staying present and also being thankful of my smaller milestones, that every milestone is a milestone. In other words, my life looks completely different than a year ago in every shape, way, form, capacity. Well, maybe not everyone. I'm still with the same partner. I still have the same cat, but and Ohana's still there. But internally and externally, there's a lot of differences, and then some. And yeah, it's not that house I want. I'm not living that house that I want just yet, or having the career I want just yet. However, let me stop and smell my own roses and give myself a huge round of applause and be grateful for the milestones that is this year. This year, I had 2 seasons out, and even though they're like random episodes, as in like number of episodes, better said, because I don't keep a track precisely, because I'm literally just going with the flow, I was able to give you all so much content. I don't know how many episodes, but a bunch. I want to say this particular episode, it does say 170 episodes within the whole 4 seasons, but there's a lot of lost episodes in between that I didn't count, because that's life, and then, a human being. So I want to say 180. I want to say 180 something. But within this year, that could have easily been 40 of them this year, 50 more or less. And that's a lot. That's a lot of time, energy, patience, dedication into that. Creating TikToks, I'm not kidding. I must have created 400 or 500 this year. I created way more than I've ever created before, on a huge daily basis, on so many different topics and things. And like, there's so much content, not only about mind, body, soul, wellness on my TikTok, but also about like my daily life, about the city life of here in Barcelona, about so many other things. And I'm so proud of myself for doing that, not only because it's content for you, it's free content for you, FYI, but also because like, it's a great way to be like, whoa, I created all that. I took my time and my energy and my self-love to put myself out there, and to dance in a bikini, and to talk about my innermost feelings, and to do lives. I did a bunch of lives. I mean, I'm not saying hundreds, but I'm saying like a bunch of lives this year, and I'm going to continue doing them. So those are the milestones. So when you do that vision board, if that's something you have in mind, one of the things you have to keep in mind, never better said, make the big goals happen, but also set the small goals. And not because you can't achieve the big goals, because you can. It's because when you do, you also set the small goals on top of the little goals, or like, you know what I mean, on top of the big goals. Like, if you go in order, you can actually keep motivated. You can stay motivated that way. You can actually be like, whoa, if my goal was to make, I don't know, let's say 5 lives in the whole month of October, instead of saying, oh my God, I'm going to do like 100 lives throughout the whole year, 5 lives in the month of October, and you did it, that's where you get motivated. You're like, okay, I did 5 this month, let me do 7 next month. Let me do 10 next month. Or whatever your goal is. You know what I mean? I'm saying lives because that was completely out of my comfort zone. I don't think I'm going to do 100 because I actually don't have a goal for the lives. My only goal wasn't the number. My only goal for the lives was to get out of my comfort zone completely and utterly. Because I keep doing things, not every day, but a lot of the days, outside of my comfort zone to push myself to grow as a human being. So yeah, that's one of the many things I can reflect on 2022. The amount of love, the amount of self-love I've gained in 2022. The amount of empowerment. My word for 2022 was acknowledge. And because I couldn't put the word no as like to know, K-N-O-W, like knowledge. I was like, acknowledge. I'm going to acknowledge my worth. I'm going to acknowledge who I am. I'm going to acknowledge where I come from. I'm going to acknowledge that I have the power to make my dreams come true. It has been a heck of a year. Health problems up the wazoo. Thank you so much for anybody who's actually asking as well. People who were asking, I'm so grateful. I have more doctor's appointments coming up at the end of this month, literally a few days before the year ends. And that's when I know more bigger results. So we'll just hang on tight and take it from there, to be honest. All I can say is that I'm doing what I need to do to get my body back on track, to get my health back on track, to get even my mental health back on track. And it's definitely on track. It's definitely balanced. It's definitely, phoenix rising kind of moment. And within those setbacks of like physical health, I become grateful because I needed to stop, because the universe forced me to stop. I look inward again and to be more present and mindful of myself. So yeah, I mean, is she getting emotional, ladies and gentlemen? She is getting emotional. All right. So I'm going to read a few notes here. I have a few questions from the audience as well, from Team Flyer, because I've asked you for a month by now, I want to say, to bring me some questions, and you have. So let me read you some of my notes first, I want you to ask yourself deep questions. Not because it's the new year, because you can be listening to this literally any point of any year. I just feel like self-reflection, there we go. I just feel like self-reflection, deep questions are just important and are definitely, the first part of the equation. By picking a self-reflection question, you set a process of self-discovery in motion, You cut into one layer of the onion. And if you know this reference, please know this reference. It's from Shrek, from a million years ago, I know. You need to peel it and see what's underneath. You need to make a serious attempt to answer those questions. Okay? Because that's also what it comes down to. We're so quick and easy. I'm like, I'm going to work out 5 times a week, and I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to journal, and, I am going to cut out toxic people from my life. And you're like, okay, did you ask yourself where and why and how, and did you ask yourself those deep questions for yourself? As in, why are you doing this? How does that make you feel? What are the changes that you need to happen for you to also start healing that part of yourselves? How can you forgive yourself? All these sorts of things need to come into motion to have that self-discovery as well. How you answer it also matters. Okay, it's entirely up to you how you choose to answer those deep self-awareness questions, For example, if you're voicing your response to somebody, you can get extra dimensions of self-awareness. It's not only what you say, but also how you say it. So for example, when you're talking about an issue with a friend, with someone you trust, whether it's face-to-face, whether it's to a voice message, how do you feel when you're venting that, or when you're expressing those feelings? Are you nervous? Are you insecure? Are you proud? Are you anticipating a certain reaction? All these kind of observations can provide extra insights about yourself. And additionally, obviously you can ask for feedback to the person that you trust, but more so, it's very interesting when you vent about something, or when you're trying to discover and answer those kind of questions about yourself. How you are answering it plays a big part on how you actually feel. Another way of answering these deep questions is recording your answers in a form of like quote unquote like an audio journal. Like voice messages, but voice message to yourself. That could be also a very interesting way to answer those kind of self-reflection questions. You'll still get your answers said out loud, but without the pressure of like other people listening. And another benefit of that is that, you can hear yourself talk when no one else is around. And I don't think people do that very often. I think people are like, oh my God, she talks when she's like by herself, or like she talks, when she's alone, or while she's cooking, she's like talking, That's actually very, very beneficial because you're able to once again express yourself in a non-judgmental manner. So maybe taking a deep question and recording your answer can be a very, very revealing experience, regardless of what you say, because once again, it's how you say it. Another great thing about it that's very efficient, because when we talk, we express ourselves faster than what we write. So, that's always nice. And then you can always, access it later as well. Just me thinking out loud. I'm like, I think you could record it and then like do something and then come back to your recordings later. I feel like kind of do a little mind shift as well. You can journal them. You can write about your experiences and you can relate to them differently. Your thinking changes when you put words down on paper because, writing by hand is relatively slow. Your mind is actually forced to slow down and select words more carefully. I feel like when you answer self-reflection questions in any journal that like you can buy, at your local bookstore, they're really useful. You can actually do that with like a random notebook you have at your house as well, and just like look about questions online. Don't censor what you write. Allow yourself to journal freely without editing a single word. If a swear comes out, if an angry thought comes out, that's fine. Just make sure you allow yourself to express yourself freely. And I think once you do finish, take a few hours break before you read your answers or listen to your audio messages of those answers, because that way you come back with them with like fresh eyes and new perspective. The other things for you to, when you're asking these questions and you're reflecting on these questions about yourself, is you can go through meditation. It's to remain open to the answers without thinking about them, quote unquote. It's a little bit different than journaling or talking, because instead of like actively producing an answer, you kind of remove yourself from the process. And that is very beautiful. That's also a difficult task to do, so to speak. But I do like it a lot. I think removing yourself from the situation / letting the universe guide you, letting your heart guide you, and like for you to understand that is what you want to do the most. It's also a very beautiful thing to see it play out. And also, the answers may come when you least expect them. And it's a great way to get yourself surprised, but also like letting go. And you can ask the question and go for a walk or do a mindful exercise or take a shower. Like, it doesn't have to be through meditation, like sitting down. It could literally be doing something that's just very carefree and easygoing and an easy pace, A lot of people have told me as well that one way of working through these questions is actually working with your unconscious mind. So it's, in other words, asking deep questions just before you go to bed. This way you plant an idea and let your brain work while you sleep. So right before going to bed, you ask a question, and then when you wake up in the morning, just journal that out, whatever comes through your mind. So that could be interesting as well. And, write down everything you need to leave as well. So, when you answer these questions, whatever questions you choose, self-reflecting, not only because, brand new year, but just in general, whenever you feel like doing those kind of typical things that we all do around this time of year, I would have monthly check-ins. I would have weekly check-ins if possible. I wouldn't do a whole year worth of resolutions, whether it's a new year, technically speaking, on the calendar or your birthday or things like that. I feel like checking up on your monthly goals and checking up on yourself on a monthly basis and seeing if you're answering these questions differently, or are you giving yourself different questions to answer every single time, goes a long way when it comes to self-growth and self-love and things like that. One of my biggest examples is Billie Eilish and her Vogue interview that she does every October 18th, and she's been doing it for the past 6 years already. And this year, every year she repeated the same questions, right? And we saw the same questions, not the same answers, different answers, but same questions. And this year it was revealed a few different different questions that they asked her years ago, which is really nice because it's an extension of the original interview, right? So I love that idea that she does that every single year, and she gets to see herself as well. So for those who aren't camera shy, I would suggest doing the same as well, to do something video related without a doubt, because I feel like that's something really, 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 really cool. All right. So as we continue, another ritual that you can do for the start of a new year, start of anything, just for the heck of it, every month, every full moon, every time your heart just freaking feels like it, my loves. Release. Write down everything you want to leave behind this year, this moment in time. Events, people, drama, heartache, hardships, transitions, anything that no longer serves you. You need to start writing that down and burn it to the ground. I mean, if you actually burn it, please be safe. Please. You can rip it up into a million pieces. You can throw it away, just out of your heart, out of sight, out of your mind, out. You know, you can also go somewhere special in nature. I mean, if it's really hard winter, whenever it is that you're listening to this, for example, then try something different. It doesn't always have to be nature, because because winter is rough in some places. But if the moment that you can, please do, because it's a great place to reconnect with Mother Earth. Even your background, my goodness, your backyard is great too. You know what I mean? Anything that works for you, in the way for you to connect to nature. Give yourself that time and that space to spend reflection and letting go, and just feel that release within you. And it's going to come to a time that you've done it so many times. You've released it. You could be releasing the same thing over and over and over again. That's absolutely fine. It's going to be a time that you've done it so much that you don't need to anymore. And that's where the beauty of these kind of things come up. You know what I mean? So, wrapping up a little bit, I really want to remind you as well, your maximal potential is in doing the most work humanly possible. It is not about the journaling or about the morning routine or workout, because all that, what it really does, it turns into a daily hustle. And then you just become a robot. I want you to remember that you are a human being, that your maximal potential is creating a life that is actually meaningful to you, however or whatever that may look like. And a life that is meaningful to you is also a life where things come to you with ease and joy. Less is more. And the more you know that, the more you go with the flow as well. And that's something super important for you to remember. Okay? Another takeaway, lesson, moment in time that I want to make sure you know is that for you to stand up for yourself and speak up. You were told to calm down and sit still. You were told that you were too much, too dramatic, too heads up in the clouds. You were told as a kid to stop fidgeting, stop jumping, stop skipping, to watch the volume of your voice because you were too loud or too soft-spoken. And one day you put that mask and you didn't even think twice because you thought that was the real you. You thought that all those things were actually a correct portrayal of you. all that did is made your insides range, your anger grow, and your light dim. So please, 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 for anyone who decided that hiding was the only way to survive, this is your reminder to take your power back and show up for yourself as yourself. The world needs more people like you to show up as themselves every single step of the way, and that's the most important thing that you can do. And not only for society as a whole and to be, a person that helps the world, but also just to be a better version of yourself and to be who you really are. And I really hope this kind of episode also serves you as a reminder, because you are so needed and loved and important in this world, no matter what. So without a doubt, please, please, please. Oh, and we're back. You're like, what do you mean we're back, Ariadna? We were just talking. My lovely Binks, he jumped up right where my studio is and my setup is, and I paused it as fast as I could before he made the microphone crash down and things like that, which he didn't. He didn't. He was just purring really loudly and asking for love. And let me finish the sentence I was saying before. What I was saying is, please, please, please be yourself. Be unapologetic yourself. Please show up for yourself as yourself, because you're needed and you're loved. I want to share this part of me with you, and I want to make sure you understand that this is a big leap. That you see me in these videos and you see me talking about my trauma or about, my healing patterns and therapy and all these sorts of ideas and moments in life that have really, really been fulfilling to me. But I also want you to know that me recording this episode for you to listen to is a huge leap. Not only putting myself out there for the whole internet to see / the whole world to see, but also putting it out there in such a raw manner, especially since we still live in a world that's very cookie cutter, and I'm really I've started years ago, but I want to defy the odds, defy gravity, is that the song? And I want you to see what it looks like to start from scratch. I'm recording in... my God, on a nightstand, in a tiny chair, next to my cat, who literally stopped what I was doing because I knew he was going to jump because he wanted love. You heard previous guests with their dogs in the background, with their babies in the background, with their Amazon packages or whatever packages coming in the background. You've seen, or you've probably heard, the ambulance running through, or people yelling in the background. And it's not to give you a what's it called? It's not a matter of me not putting the effort in of let me get into a recording studio, let me invest in a recording studio, let me invest in this. It's more so of a matter of saying this is what reality looks like. I am as Monica Geller as they come. I mean, I have work through my OCD and work to be a little less Monica Geller, and if you don't get the reference, it's absolutely fine. She's very much a clean freak. I've definitely let my guard down, and it's definitely not as bad as it was many, many years ago. So I love aesthetically pleasing things, whether that's TikTok, YouTube, videos in general of a clean house, things that match, the bed is made, breakfast is exquisite, things like that. I like watching them, but I don't make those kind of videos because that's not what my life looks like. That would be a false portrayal of my life. I show you the nitty gritty. I say, hey, let's sit here. Let me have a pause. Let me have a random moment that I didn't hit the record button or the pause button or whatever, because that's what real life looks like. The moment the time comes where I do have that production team and I am going to be shown with that support, I still want to go back and look at myself and be like, I did it through all that, and I did it because I was always myself, and that's the thing I'm the most proud of regardless. because I'm also learning, and it's so crazy, and it's such a wonderful, experience to think of out loud, that, you see all these, celebrities, and not only someone like as amazing as Drew Barrymore and like her show, for like, oh my gosh, that's a dream, and Kelly Clarkson, of course, but also like other podcasters who are like so cool and so fun and so relatable and friendly. Why I'm not thinking of their names right now, I don't know. And I see Kristen, and I'm like, oh my god, what's the name of her podcast? Give me a second, because I really want to mention her. Okay, I found it. Oh my goodness gracious. The Confident Collective with Christina and Rayanne. I freaking adore it. Podcasts like those, podcasts like Pod Meets World, obviously, when you see creators like that, and you see them like, oh my god, they're so put together, and like they know exactly what they're doing, and they have that studio to back them up, and they have the producers and editors and sound people and all these sorts of things. Like, it's so cool. And it's like, believe me, that is, and I'm so thankful and happy that it exists, and we are able to listen to those episodes, of course. But also, I realized two things after talking to all these people. One, they're equally as nervous as we are, because they're human beings, and they get nervous too. And two, they don't have it all put together. They don't know what they're doing, because no one knows what they're doing, because there's no guidebook of life. So the fact that I'm able to come here and show up as myself and actually be brave enough to hit publish, because there's so many times within an episode, not every episode, but in this episode for sure, and I'm like, I was 20 minutes in, and I'm like, am I expressing myself correctly? Am I doing what I need to be doing? Do they understand what I'm saying? Should I start over? Should I take better notes? I shouldn't be posting this, right? Like, there's no way I should. Why am I posting this? Like, no, like, maybe I should like give myself a beat. Let me come back within an hour. Like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I really saying, like, do you want me to continue? Because I can. So, imposter syndrome, ladies and gentlemen, imposter syndrome, hard. And I said, no, F to that voice, F to thinking, that I have to look a certain way, act a certain way, have it edited a certain way to show up right here, right now. What I'm doing gives me so much joy and happiness, and I know for a fact that there's so many people listening to me from around the world that has impacted their life positively, that I'm just going to keep doing it. And like I said, the moment I have production, like a team, equally as grateful, because I'm able to like give you even better resources than what I'm able to give you now. I would rather give you this episode with as much love and care as possible than keep quiet. So this is me taking my power back and raising my voice for myself and being like, this is the kind of episode you get, and take it or leave it. This is the process, because people who start from scratch, a business, a podcast, a career, anything, they started out like this. Not everyone can start with a multi-million-dollar studio behind them, you know what I mean? So this is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. And if that's a way to encourage people to continue doing their own podcast and their own business and their own thing, then hey, so be it. We gotta have more people who are vulnerable out here. So this is me being hella vulnerable. My goodness gracious. And talking about vulnerable, your questions. Let me go find them. All right, so one of the questions is, was the process long of seeing the world through a lighter eyes? So because I know exactly who's this froth bend, for those who didn't know, I was a teacher for many, many years, so this was definitely one of my students, and I love the effort that they put behind just the effort they put behind of what they're trying to do and they're trying to say. So essentially the question, let me rearrange the words for a quick hot sec. Okay, got it. Did it take you a long time to come out of your shell and see the world through your eyes without fear? When I read that question, I was like, whoa, that's a deep question. That's a deep-rooted question. Yeah, I want to say it took me a long time, but no, it did not take me a long time. It didn't take me a long time because ever since I was a child, I always believed, and this is not a play on words, this is literally because this is the reason why I named my podcast, my business, The Always Believer. Because I always said, always believe. I always believed there's something greater out there, something brighter. And not only because I was getting myself out of situations that were very rocky and where I was feeling very unsupported and not seen, but also because I knew that I was worthy of everything that I deserved, of all the abundance and all the light and all the beauty, and I needed to come out of my shell as much as possible, as many times as possible, in order to see the world through kinder eyes. So it did start when I was very little, They Always Believe. The sentence, the meaning, the mentality of it all. So it didn't take me a long time in that kind of sense. It did take me a long time because life, I went through a lot of things in life, as I always mention, and I'm an advocate for mental health, and I'm a keynote speaker. I do conferences, I have clients. This is a big part of my work because I do want to, leave the world a better place. And it took me a long time because I myself had to go through therapy, and I still do. And I myself had to go through these inner changes to understand my worth and see myself through those kinder eyes. It did take me a long time to come out of my shell, and I don't think I'm fully out yet. I think as each day goes on, because it's my life mission to be the best self I can be, I feel like I'm going to become more and more comfortable in my skin. And not only is it going to show physically, but I think internally as well. And I think the best is yet to come. I think that because I've maintained being grateful and being grounded and being humble and making myself that I stayed on that ground or stay on that path of knowing that's the basis. I feel like thanks to that, it's been easier, or it's becoming easier and easier as time goes on. And then what you explained, what you asked about seeing the world without fear, or just, in other words, being brave. I love this question so much. I do consider myself a very brave person, a very fearless person in many aspects of my life, and I also want to make sure that I continue growing. So I do things a lot of outside my comfort zone. And that's what I was saying about the rejection therapy, doing activities that make me go outside my comfort zone on purpose so I can continue being brave. And I love that aspect of me as well, because I want to speak up for those who aren't able to speak up yet. I want to make sure that there's more justice in the world, and for that to happen, I have to continue, airing these episodes and getting more clients and, becoming or building a bigger things in order for me to reach more and more people, because that's one of the biggest goals I have, is to help other people. So I feel like anything that we do in life is scary because we were taught to be ourselves is scary. And I feel like the more you surround yourself with people who help you and see the real you and cheer the real you and celebrate the real you and give you that tough love as well, but with the kindest eyes, I feel like that's the moment where you understand that being brave is the best thing you can be. And it's something that you honestly need to do more and more, without putting yourself in danger, of course, But yeah, just keep being brave. Thank you so much for that question. Okay, next question is, what's the single best thing that happened to me this year? Self-love. That's it. I think self-love. I know it has improved mountains and mountains and mountains I've climbed this year, and owning my power, acknowledging my worth, really, really, really putting myself first, and not only walking away from toxic relationships and situations, but most of all, just knowing, understanding that what I do is the best thing I can do for myself, and the decisions that I've made and I keep making are based on what I need at that moment in time. And that all led me to have self-love in a more deeper and just in a more deeper matter, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love that. That and therapy is just the best thing that happened this year. Self-love. One of the most challenging things that happened to me this year is the follow-up to that one. I'm like, self-love. To love yourself unconditionally. That's really difficult. Like, healing is about recognizing that every version of yourself deserves to be loved. That's what healing is. It's literally about recognizing that every single version of yourself, no matter where you are, deserves to be loved. So healing is not a final destination. It is a process. It happens daily if you let it. It is exhausting, so that's why you need to have fun in your life, because healing is a very dark, long, wonderful, magical process all at the same time. So it's also very challenging. So I feel like self-love and understanding that I deserve to be loved through my faults and through it all, through my toxic moments and things like that, I feel like that's just outstanding. But yeah, it's been very challenging in my health, my physical health. I feel like it's been very challenging this year, and I think it just ties up to my mental health. It ties up to past traumas. So I feel like it comes hand in hand. This one is kind of cute. It just made me think, it made me chuckle. What was the single biggest time waster in my life this past year? Oh goodness. Apart from the obvious scrolling too long sometimes, I would want to say the most important thing, that the first thing when I read this question, the thing that came to my mind, I got kind of angry at myself, like, oh, all the negative self-hate talk I gave myself this year. Like, there were certain moments this year that I was really ridiculously low. We talked about it in a few episodes about committing suicide. I've opened up about it with guests. There were certain moments, even this year, that it came back up through therapy and all, and you're just like, damn. And it's really, really that past trauma that kind of comes through the door and just kind of says, hi, I'm here. And you're like, no, you're not here. We've healed you. We've gone past you. You're just here trying to F me over, and I'm done. I'm walking away from this. And to be honest, I mean, the last time that had happened, that was definitely about 6 months ago, because that was definitely actually the start of summer, more or less, which is odd because I love summer. But as you know, as a full-on reflection, that was a big time waster. But if you want, the vain answer, not the vain, but like the boring answer, scrolling, I guess, a little too much for my own taste, because I could be doing something else than just scrolling. But yeah, the opposite of this question was, what's the best way you used your time this past year? And I also love that one too. And that would be, oh goodness, the times I had fun, the times that I was clearly myself, the times that I just danced because the heck of it, and the times that I just remembered like that inner spark. I feel like the best way I use my time this year, oh my god, also all the times that I got up. So I got really, really huge health scare this year, and I'm still going through it. And every single time that I got up after a fall down, and I took myself out for a tea, a coffee, a drink. But anytime I say drink, people think it's alcohol. No, it doesn't have to be alcohol. Just like you've seen my TikToks. Like I journal everywhere around the city, and I take myself out on dates constantly. So I feel like that's definitely one of the best ways that I use my time the best this year. All right, I'm thinking. Oh, goodness gracious. That's a good one. What are you busy with today? I understand this question because there's a follow-up to this question. So, like, what are you busy with today? In this sense, they were trying to explain with what things are keeping you busy that shouldn't be keeping you busy, because the follow-up question is, will this matter in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years? So I feel like that's a really great reflection question. I understand that when it comes to being busy, I'm just laughing because I have such a loud background all of a sudden, and I was like, oh my god, I hope you guys are able to like listen to this party going on behind me, because that's just life. But yeah, what am I busy with today? So things that need to be off my schedule. So yeah, of course, like I feel like the stress of look, better, like this is, I just realized this is the best example. The fact that I still live with a bunch of roommates and stresses me the F out, and they're so loud, and there's so many inconveniences because I just want a place of our own and whatnot. And sometimes it's a real struggle bus, because I do want to give you Team Flyer like moments of peace and quiet, and actually have, you know, proper conversation with you, or privacy, or not have anybody yelling in the background as always. And I feel like, you know, me stressing over that makes no sense. One, because I know our situation. I know we're doing the best we can with what we got, and I know that we're growing every single day. Two, because like it's nothing I can really control. I've spoken my mind, or you know, I there's certain rules that we all follow and whatnot. And will it matter in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years time? It won't matter. It really won't, because I realize that I'm going to continue doing what I want to do, and I'm going to continue, you know, putting my music and recording my episodes and doing what I'm going to do, and keep myself happy too, as long as we're all respectful to one another. So I feel like that's the biggest thing. So I don't know. Hopefully that answers it. I'm not really sure, but sure. All right, so we're almost done. What would you want to say to yourself in 1 year's time? I love you. I love you for who you are. I love you for everything that you've gone through. I love you for every time that you stood up and spoken your truth. I love for you every single time that you apologized. I love you for every single time you told yourself you're a hot, sexy, badass bee. I love you for every time you believed in your dreams and you understood where you were going. And I love you for all the times that you released and walked away from toxicity. And I love you for every time that you rise up to the occasion and make a better change in the world. I am proud of you, of who you are today, of your ability to keep that light in our lives, you know, that it shines so brightly. I am so proud of having your inner child, our inner child, just be a big part of our decisions and the magic. I'm so proud of you accomplishing your goals and actually going after what you want, and not just sitting there with your arms crossed. You actually, you know, got up and did it. And I'm proud that you changed from a hustle mentality to, you know, easy, at ease, joyful, having fun mentality. And I am excited to see what's coming up in the future. I'm super honored to be a big part of your life here today and always. And I know that you are doing, wonderful, amazing life lessons with yourself, and that you're helping others, because that's generally who, and I'm here to support it. And it's okay if you fall, it's okay if you make mistakes, you're human, get back up, because we got this, and we didn't make it this far just to come this far. And remember that you're doing it for your inner child and for your ancestors, and for breaking that generational trauma, because you do believe in making the world a better place. And I love you just the way you are, and today and always. That's what I would say to myself in 1 year's time. So December 21st, 2023. Oh my goodness. Let me check if I have any more questions, as we would definitely wrap up this last episode of the year. Okay, I see that I do have one more question that I absolutely adore. And it is, pick 3 words to describe this past year. And it's definitely the title of this episode, which is Lizzo, Love Notes, and Laughter. Lizzo, because hot damn. Appreciate everything she stands for, everything she does, her documentary, her big girls, her music, her essence, her vibe, her everything. It's definitely been a big year, not only for her, but her as an influence towards me, without a doubt. Love Notes, because this is the year, after many years of not doing it, the year that I journaled the most. You've seen many countless TikToks, many countless lives. You've heard a lot of my journal entries through many different ways, shapes, and forms. And it's love notes to myself. It's love notes that I write almost every day. It is journals that have gone with me through many different adventures throughout the year. And it's something I want to continue doing, because it really helped heal so many parts of me that I thought that I wouldn't really have access to. And my love notes definitely helped. And laughter, and yes, I'm about to cry. Happy tears. Laughter, because it's laughter we're after. It's laughter, having fun and rejoicing, and just having the experience of having fun time and time again. So yeah, those are the 3 words I would say to describe this past year. As I wrap up, there is a new, talking about my journal, talking about love notes. I did this little rap thingy. I'm not a rapper. I'm not a singer. I wish, because I love singing. But I'm a writer, so I got that going on. And I wrote this, and it became a hit on TikTok, and I just wanted to share it as, keep it as a keepsake on my episode. And it's, why am I so embarrassed now? If, see, I get embarrassed all the time. What you saying? What are you talking about, Willis? All right. I'm a baddie, I'm a star, I'm a golden light, I'm beautiful, I'm love, I'm divine, worthy of limited abundance. Damn, that's right. Thankful, powerful, protected. You know I got it right. Royalty, bountiful, spicy, and then some. Free to be me, free to be the one. I adore that so much. I wrote it on December 21st, 2022, and I just fell in love with it. It kind of just spoke out of me, and yeah, I just wanted to share it with you here. I can do a whole episode about my love notes, and I guess, for another season, never better said. But it's just, the mantra that I always repeat. I can give you that, which is, I'm the most powerful I've ever been. I'm walking to the wealthiest and healthiest version of myself. Everything I desire is on its way, because everything I desire is already mine. I love myself. I trust myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm grateful for myself. I believe in myself. I am Ariadna. So little inspirations here and there, but I'm going to continue, posting on TikTok and things like that. And you can always, talk to me on Instagram, and just if you have any more questions, I'll figure it out and, get back to you, of course, because that's life. Thank you. I know I always end the questions with my guest, what are you thankful for? And you already know the answer. I'm thankful for you, Stream Flower. I'm thankful for everything you do. I'm thankful for you. So thankful for you. I just you're here with me today. Haters and all. Believe me, haters and all. You know you're doing something right when you have haters. Seriously though. You're here since day one or day right now, and that just means the world to me because you're giving me your time and energy and love and sharing it with me. So please keep the reviews coming, the subscriptions, the likes, the follows, the shares, because it really does help go a long way. And if you liked anything, you know, that I was talking about, no matter how random or on point they may be, hit that like and follow button, please, because the more you help me just simply by clicking one button or two or five, the more I can help you in a bigger, better way. I want to say thank you to my ohana. Obviously that includes my husband and my cat. Does. You know how we do. But my ohana. Team Flyer. Special shout out to Wisdom Domain, to Stitch. I don't know how to say sloth stitch. Stitch sloth. Inside joke thing. Kind of. Momilona as well. I'll tag all these down below. A quote that Topanga Lauren said in the episode. Oh goodness, is it in the same episode? I was gonna say Boy Meets Girl, which is season 1, episode 22. I want to say. I think it's that episode. But point being, Topanga Lauren said this, and I had to write it down for this. It is, tears are the thank you note of the soul. I'm so incredibly happy and thankful to be here with you today. I am so incredibly proud and once again thankful and blessed that I'm surrounded by all you beautiful souls. Thank you to my guests. Thank you to Epifania and Heidi. Por favor, please. Heidi Rojas. Epifania as well. She's a freaking amazing TikToker. But Heidi Rojas, please go follow her. Let's pump up her music. Let's dance it out. Let's have her music blasting throughout 2023 and beyond, because holy moly, Heidi Rojas is where it's at. If you're all about self-love and self-care and about breaking generational trauma, if you or anybody that you know loves that kind of music and vibe and message, Heidi Rojas, please. She was my guest last week, and she made a huge impact on my life. There's so many good stuff. There's so much good music coming out really soon from her, and just keep a lookout on that. But other than that, every single guest I've had for 4 seasons, thank you to infinity and beyond. Cheers to a brand new year. Cheers to a brand new everything. Cheers to you and me and more journeys along our way. And if I've forgotten something by now, then I'll figure out a way to get to you at some point of life. But meanwhile, you know where I am. I am online at thealwaysbeliever.com. I'm on Instagram and TikTok. And you have 100 and something episodes to listen to. If this is your first episode, then there's 170 at least episodes more waiting for you. So once again, thank you so much for liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing your love here, Team Flyer. You are amazing, and then some. Hug tighter, love stronger, till infinity beyond. Always believe. This is your host and creator of the Always Believer podcast, Ariadna. Till next time. Bye. Ciao.